A journey to the mountains. James felt very tired from his job. He wanted a break from the city and decided to visit the mountains. One day, he packed his backpack with clothes, a map, a flashlight, and some snacks. He locked his apartment and went to the train station. Chapter 2: The journey begins. James took a train to a small town near the mountains. As he traveled, he saw the scenery change from tall buildings to green hills and forests. When he arrived, the air was fresh and cool. He found a small inn and checked in. The owner, Mrs. Thompson, was very kind. Chapter 3: Exploring the town. The next day, James woke up early and explored the town. He saw quaint houses and friendly people. He stopped at a cafe for breakfast. A man named Tom started talking to him. Tom was a mountain guide and offered to take James on a hike. James agreed. Chapter 4: Into the Wilderness. James and Tom started their hike early the next morning. The trail was steep and rocky, but the views were beautiful. They walked through forests, crossed streams, and climbed cliffs. Tom told James stories about the mountains. James felt happy and peaceful. Chapter 5: The Hidden Cave. On the third day of their hike, Tom mentioned a hidden cave. Few people knew about it. James was curious and wanted to see it. They walked off the main trail and found the cave hidden behind bushes. They used their flashlights and went inside. Chapter 6: An Unexpected Find. Inside the cave, James saw something shiny. He found an old metal box. They opened it and found old coins, a map, and a diary. The diary belonged to a man named William who lived in the mountains a long time ago. It talked about his adventures and a hidden treasure. Chapter 7: Following the Map. James and Tom decided to follow the map. It led them deeper into the mountains. The journey was hard, but they were determined. They climbed ridges, crossed cliffs, and went through forests. They faced many challenges but kept going. Chapter 8: The Hidden Valley. After weeks of searching, they found a hidden valley. It was very beautiful with green meadows, tall trees, and clear streams. In the middle was an old cabin. They found more clues inside the cabin, leading them to a hidden compartment under the floor. They opened it and found the treasure, gold coins, jewels, and artifacts. Chapter 9: Returning to Civilization. James and Tom decided to go back to the town. They packed the treasure and made their way back. The journey was tough, but they were happy. When they returned, the townspeople welcomed them as heroes. James felt proud and fulfilled. Chapter 10: A New Beginning. James used his share of the treasure to start a new life. He bought a small cabin in the mountains. He could escape the city whenever he wanted. He also donated some of the treasure to the town, helping to improve it. James stayed friends with Tom, and they continued to explore the mountains together. Chapter 11: Settling In. James loved his new life in the mountains. His cabin was small but perfect. He spent his days hiking, reading, and enjoying nature. He made friends with the locals and became part of the community. Chapter 12: The Winter Challenge. In winter, the mountains turned white with snow. One morning, James found his cabin buried in snow. He had to dig his way out. It was hard work, but he enjoyed it. The snowy landscape was beautiful. Chapter 13: The Mountain Rescue. During a storm, James heard someone calling for help. He found a lost hiker named Mark. Mark was injured. James helped him and took him to his cabin. He gave Mark food and took care of him. Chapter 14: Mark's Story. Mark told James he was an experienced hiker but got caught in the storm. They became friends. Mark liked James's story about finding the treasure and living in the mountains. He admired James's courage. Chapter 15: Spring Brings New Beginnings. In spring, the snow melted, and the mountains were green again. James and Mark explored together. Mark decided to stay and build his own cabin near James's. James helped him. Chapter 16: The Community Grows. More people came to the town, attracted by the stories of the mountains. The town grew. James and Mark became leaders and helped newcomers. They organized hikes and workshops. The town flourished. Chapter 17: A Visit from Tom. Tom visited James and Mark. He was happy to see how much the town had grown. They remembered their adventure and the treasure. Tom invited them on new hikes. They explored together and shared stories around the campfire. Chapter 18: An Unexpected Reunion. One day, James and Mark met an elderly man by a stream. He was William's great-grandson. He had heard about the treasure and wanted to see the mountains. James and Mark showed him the hidden valley and the cabin. He was grateful and moved. Chapter 19: Preserving the Legacy. William's great-grandson wanted to preserve the mountains. He started a foundation to protect them. James and Mark helped him. They were happy to be part of something important. The mountains remained beautiful for everyone to enjoy. Chapter 20: A Happy Life. James had found more than a treasure in the mountains. He found peace, friendship, and a new purpose. He knew he had made the right decision to leave the city. His life was simple but filled with joy and adventure. James was content and happy, living in harmony with nature. The end.